Good evening, everyone. In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey statutes regarding open public meetings, notice of this meeting was legally advertised in the Courier Post and South Jersey Times and posted on the Bulletin Board Municipal Building. Fire exits are located through the double doors on your left and right. Please silence all mobile devices and stand for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Here.
Mr. Longfellow?
Here.
Ms. Pastalone? Mr. Perry?
Here.
Mr. Fazio?
Here.
Mayor Gattinelli?
Here.
Mr. Platt?
Here.
Mr. Gonter?
Here.
Joanne, if you want to lead us off in your presentation.
Sure. Within the township, we started a new initiative for Employee of the Month. So I want to introduce everyone to Colette Batchich. We're going to offer a proclamation today. The Township of Washington has implemented an Employee of the Month program, and the Township of Washington seeks to encourage employees to put their best foot forward and take pride in their work. The program further recognizes those who go above and beyond during their time serving the residents and working to the best of their abilities in Washington Township. The first Employee of the Month embodies these qualities and is a 15-year resident of Washington Township. This employee balances two jobs, one of Assistant Finance Officer handling Township finances and the other Human Resources Officer handling employee personal matters. This employee works efficiently in balancing both roles and while at work is very positive and encouraging to other employees. This employee is willing to help anyone and takes pride in her work and has been selected by her peers for this honor. With that being said, I, Joanne Gattinelli, Mayor and the Council of Washington Township, Gloucester County, are proud to recognize Colette Batchich as the first Employee of the Month for the Township of Washington program.
Movie theater in there. And treadmills and ellipticals, you can watch a movie. You got a little thing that tells you what movies they're having that week. Big giants. A little closer. That's
All right, congratulations, Colette. And move on to the bill list. Do you have a motion for the bill list, October 25th, 2017?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes. Move on to minutes. Approval of regular meeting minutes, September 27th, 2017. Do you have a motion?
Make that motion.
I wasn't here. One second.
Second?
No, you weren't there either.
No.
You know, I don't think we have quorum on that.
On the first, on the 27th we do, but not for the 11th.
Oh, okay.
So we'll split them up then.
Okay.
All right, so this is, any discussion on the minutes?
No.
Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Abstain. And we don't have quorum for the 11th, correct?
So-
Can I make a
so
motion
just
to
Make a
table?
motion to table, please.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approval of regular meeting minutes, 11th is tabled. Move on to ordinances. This is ordinance 29, 2017. This is ordinance amending Chapter 100, Article 2 of the Code of Washington Township, Open Space Trust Fund. This ordinance is up for adoption, so we will be opening to the public. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're now open to the public on ordinance 29, 2017. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes.
My name is Leon Lackritz, and I'm chairman of the Open Space Committee, and I'm here just to give you a little background. If we adopt the ordinance this evening, we will be entitled to recoup 50% of our expenses in the purchase of Green Acres open space. Over the since 2001, by being part of this open space agreement with the state, we have recouped approximately $5 million. To be precise, the township has received from the state of New Jersey $4,795,000. If we do not adopt this ordinance this evening, from here on in next year, we will not be entitled to receive any reimbursements from the state if we proceed to purchase Green Acres land. So thank you for considering the ordinance, and the Open Space Committee is entirely in favor that it be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, motion to close to the public?
Make the motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we will motion for approval of ordinance 29, 2017. Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion for approval.
I'll second. Any discussion on the ordinance?
No.
Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes.
Motion carries. This ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 31, 2017. This ordinance amending the Chapter 229 of the Code of Washington Township under taxation. This ordinance is up for adoption, so we will be opening to the public. I'll motion to open to the public.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Open to the public on ordinance 31. Seeing no one, motion to close.
Make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And motion for approval,
Adoption.
motion for adoption for ordinance 31.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 32, 2017. This ordinance amending ordinance 25, 2017 of Washington Township, the Chapter 260 Vehicle and Traffic on Private Property. This ordinance is up for adoption. We need a motion to open to the public. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is ordinance 32. Open to the public. Seeing none, motion to close.
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance to adopt, motion for adoption of ordinance 32. All motion.
Second.
Second.
Sean? Any discussion on ordinance 32? Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes.
Motion carries. The ordinance is adopted. Council President, the next two ordinances are for introduction only.
So we have ordinance 33, 2017. This ordinance amending Chapter 15, the Code of the Township entitled Amusement Devices. This ordinance is being introduced. Public hearing on adoption will be on November 8th, 2017. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Sean seconded.
Got it.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes. Ordinance 34, 2017. This ordinance amending Chapter 40 of the Code of the Township of Washington entitled Business Licensing. This ordinance is being introduced tonight. Public hearing will be on November 8th, 2017, along with adoption. Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes.
Council President, if you want to read these, the resolutions by, we can have a block vote unless somebody wants to abstain. As long as you read them all by title.
Yep. Does anybody have any resolutions they need pulled out of the list for discussion or any other means?
No.
Seeing none, I'm going to starting with Resolution 311, 2017. This is a resolution approving and authorizing liens on real property of the Township of Washington for maintenance work performed for the Township of Washington. Resolution 312, 2017. Resolution requesting approval of revenue and appropriations from the Department of Community Affairs for 2015 Bulletproof Vest Grant in the amount of $6,071. Resolution 313, 2017. Resolution requesting approval of revenue and appropriations from the Department of Community Affairs for the 2017 Body Armor Grant in the amount of $6,847.26. Resolution 314, 2017. Tax overpayments for October 25th, 2017. Resolution 316, 2017, resolution approving to submit grant applications and executive grant contract with NJDOT for reconstruction of Mount Pleasant Road. And Resolution 317, 2017, resolution canceling Resolution 306, 2017, and awarding a new contract to Showcase Graphics LLC for clean community and recycling calendars. Resolution 318, 2017, resolution awarding a contract for third-party payroll to Prime Point HRMS and payroll. And I think there's more.
Yes. One more.
Resolution 319, 2017, approving release of performance guarantee and waiving the maintenance guarantee for Washington Square Urban Renewal LLC Monuments Project 0818P428. Resolution 320, 2017, approving release of maintenance guarantee for Kennedy Health Facilities, Incorporated, TA Kennedy Health Care Center. Resolution 321, 2017, approving release of performance guarantee and waiving the maintenance guarantee for Washington Mayfair Motel Project 0818I09. And Resolution 322, 2017 is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 in a contract for FY 2016 CDBG Grant Lantern Lane Improvements Project 0818T355. Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
The motion to adopt all?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second. Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes. We'll move on to old business. Start with Councilman Longfellow.
Nothing at this time.
Good, Joe?
I have nothing.
Apologize for missing the last 2 meetings, guys. Angela?
No old business.
New business. So we have a rebranding of Kennedy Hospital to Jefferson Health. I'm guessing somebody's here to talk about it?
No, we just kind of put it on the agenda that there was a ceremony that the mayor attended. As you take a look at the buildings, they've actually changed the name of the buildings already. So the merger has been completed and they're implementing all the physical changes right now.
Were you there, Joanne? Did you go there?
Up in Cherry Hill, they had it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
November meeting scheduled for November 21st. That's a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Does anybody think they're going to have a problem? I know I'm good. I know it's kind of in advance, but we got to talk about it now if we're going to move the meeting or cancel it. So,
So we just cancel it?
I mean, I've spoken with the clerk, and in terms of like having an extra meeting on for like ordinances that we might have to put through before the end of the year. We'll have enough time to do an ordinance. If we have the intro in November, we'll have a meeting in December to do it. So from that standpoint, we don't need to have it.
Right.
So that's the only thing I wanted to add. So it's a question of, a lot of towns, only have one meeting a month in November and December. You have it on the original calendar for reorganization, so that was why the clerk wanted to know what the governing body wanted to do. If you want to cancel it, you should take action formally tonight by passing a motion. If you want to keep it on, there's nothing you have to do at this point.
Well, I'll make a motion to cancel the meeting on November 21st. Do we need a second on that?
I'll second.
Roll call on canceling the November 21st meeting.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes. So November 21st meeting is canceled. The meeting in November will be on the 8th. It's the only meeting of the month. And 2017 Best Practices Report, James Doria is here. I believe he wants to speak on it. Come on up.
Hello, Council. We just recently submitted the best practices for 2017 to the state of New Jersey. It's an exercise that we go through that the state wants to monitor us to make sure that we are following best practices. This year there were 25 questions, and we were able to answer 22 of them affirmatively that we are achieving the best practices in those areas. The 3 that we were not sufficient, we are working towards getting to that point. Another thing that the state does with these best practice awards, it monitors the best practices in order to get a feel for state aid. If a municipality cannot answer the appropriate number of questions correctly, there's a reduction in the state aid that a municipality receives on an annual basis. We do not fit that criteria, and we will be receiving 100% of our state aid for 2018. Are there any questions?
Good job, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Move on to reports, starting with Councilman Longfellow.
Just 2 things. First, just want to say that we had a very good turnout for the Environmental Commission's Community Cleanup Day. I don't know what the final count was. I'm sure we'll get it at the next meeting about how much trash was picked up, but it was significant. We had a lot of kids and community members that came out, and on behalf of council, I'd just like to say thank you. Same for the Environmental Commission for putting that together every year. Additionally, just kudos to the Environmental Commission. They received an ANJEC Achievement Award this year, so thank you for all you do. That's a heck of an achievement, and keep up the good work.
I just have one. On Saturday, we had a new business that opened up in the township, Edge Fitness. They're a Connecticut-based company, and Washington Township was their first venture into the state of New Jersey. So let's wish them well.
Just want to add on, it's more new business than anything. I'm sure you guys are aware of the email from Mark. I sent an update to you, and I believe Joanne got it. Alan was going to try to be here. He couldn't make it, but I'm in contact with him as well. So anything that comes up from that, I'll make sure Longfellow and Joanne get it, and I'll send it to you guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know you weren't here for the start of it, but I can give you an update later on.
Okay.
All right. Angela?
Yes. Hold on one second.
Okay. So just starting with last weekend, we had a very successful day at the Mothers Matter 5K. That was on Sunday, but the night before was the Food Truck Festival, and we had an excellent turnout, lots of delicious food. Thought it was a great thing, and I know that the town was very excited about it. I think definitely looking forward to having one or more in the next year. So this Saturday coming up is the Operation Drug Take Back Day. So you can come to the Washington Township Police Department between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to drop off any unused medications or expired medications for correct disposal. I believe it's going to be in the courtroom. Also on Saturday is trunk or treat between 4 and 6 at the Washington Lake Park. If you go dress up, you can bring your family and go trick-or-treating in trunks. The Veterans Day ceremony is it is on November 11th at 11 a.m. And it's at the Veterans Park, right, I guess it's McClure Drive as well, right behind the police department, the Veterans Park. For trick-or-treating, the curfew hours begin on October 28th, and that is the hours for curfew are 8 p.m. and trick-or-treating hours on Halloween the 31st are from 3 to 8 p.m. as well. And then my last report is that if you notice, some of our police officers, the Washington Township Police Department is partnering with the PBA 318 and sponsored by PJ Willahans. They're participating in the nationwide Movember movement. Movember is a fundraiser that helps spread awareness for men's health issues. So starting November 1st and through November 30th, the Washington Township Police Department will be possibly growing a beard or a mustache, which is a little out of their ordinary, and they are donating $25 for a men's health charity. Like I said, the movement is sponsored by PJ Willahans, and anyone wishing to make a donation can mail a check to the police headquarters or just drop it off at the chief of police's office. So thank you for doing that. I think that's an awesome cause that you guys are doing. That's all.
All right. And we'll move on to public participation. Do you have a motion to open to the public?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're now open to the public. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes.
Again, 7:22.
Should be.
Good evening. My name's David Wilson, 19 Goodwin Parkway. Several months ago, probably about 6 months ago, I made a suggestion that at the time I thought was going to get some traction as far as having proposed resolutions available on the website before the meeting. I don't know the status of that. At that time, a new IT contract was being negotiated. But right now, the resolutions that you addressed at the meeting, are they available on the website now? I couldn't locate them. And I also noticed that they used to be available on the desk or on the table, but they're no longer. So other than just reading the title, I'm not sure how a taxpayer can be aware of government business.
Well, we're going to answer your comments or respond to your
Sure, okay.
questions after you're done.
Okay. In addition, at that time, I was wondering if the video recording of the meeting could be also put on the webpage, on the township website, so that people that not able to attend a meeting could go to the website and view the video at their convenience. And one last thing. I read in our local newspaper settlement that was made by the township to an individual, and it was very sparse information, and I assume that's because of confidentiality agreements. But as a taxpayer, we're left at being at a loss what this was all about, who was at fault. I would just like to find a way where the taxpayers can become a little bit more aware when settlements are made to former employees or whatever.
And I don't want to cut you off. Do you know which case you're talking about?
No, it was about 2 weeks ago, I think, in the local paper.
Do you know the name of the case?
I don't know the name of the case. I believe it was a lady. I believe we settled, I think there was like a $170,000 settlement.
Okay.
Where the insurance paid, I don't know, 110, we paid 70 or something like that.
Right.
Thousand. Thank you.
Anything else from the public?
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't get your last name. Thank you.
Is that microphone on?
Bring something up in front of the council. Our home, there's over 650 homes where we live across in Heritage Valley. I guess it was about a year ago. People came in, applied for an old age home, assisted living, whatever you want to call it, at the front of our development. At the time it came up, the zoning board met, and 650 residents there were not happy campers about it. What ended up with it is the zoning board gave them an approval for non-use. Then they gave them an approval for height. Then they gave them a variance for size. Then they gave them a variance for parking. And they just about gave the developer everything they wanted. We wrote a list of things that we had concerns about. Except for a couple of council members that at least had the decency to get back to me, I can't find a thing out about this place. The zoning board, the planning board, nobody. One of the first things we asked the planning board and the zoning board, we maintained the sprinklers, the railings, the landscaping at the entrance of this development. We have maintained it for 40 years. There's a wall there, there's electric, there's water, there's everything on this side of the development where they're building. As of right now, they have stakes right through where the wall's at. It's the biggest thing, and the thing we asked this, and we've asked about this, is we have maintained that for 40 years. I don't want to hear the stuff about, well, it belongs to somebody else. If it belongs to somebody else, why for 40 years did we maintain it? Why didn't the person that supposedly owns the ground throw us out of there? It's the entrance to our development. It's the entrance to where we live. Everything that controls everything for that development is on that side of the road. The water, the electric, everything. You tear that wall down, you tear that down, the front of our development is gone. There's no electric, there's no water, there's nothing. I don't understand how we went through all this, and we still can't get answers. We just can't get answers. So I'm asking this council to find out how. 40 years ago, when we were called into the mayor's office and said, well, do you want to maintain this? You can maintain it. The town will not. How all of a sudden, we don't have any rights anymore? We've paid over $100,000 in costs in the 40 years that we've maintained that. Now somebody's going to come along and say, tough crap. We're going to tear your wall down. We're going to tear out your water. We're going to tear out everything else there. There's 650 homes in that development. I don't know what the rateable was of your old age home, but I know what the rateable of 650 homes are. We want to know what's going to be done about it and who's going to step forward and say, no, you're not going to tear that down. You're not going to destroy everything up there. Can't get answers. How about a little bit of concern for 650 homeowners? I know you wanted a rateable. You got the rateable. Nobody's happy about it. Nobody's happy in our development about it. All we asked for is somebody to have got back to us. We wrote a letter. We got answers, and here's what the letter says. Heritage Valley Association maintains sprinklers, railings, asked for everything that we've asked for. We have gotten no answers from, except for a couple of councilmen that have reached back out to me. We want to know what's going to be done about it. We don't want to lose everything we've had up there after 40 years of paying for it. Don't get an answer, especially from the zoning board. They only knew one thing. Yes, 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 yes to every variance they asked for. What I'd like to do is council get involved and find out what's going on, why we've maintained something for 40 years, and now somebody said, well, you don't own the ground. Well, who owned the ground? The wall's been there. The sprinkler system's been there. The electric's been there for 40 years. You mean somebody just said we can have this here? No. There's something missing somewhere in here. We've maintained it for 40 years. It belongs to the association. We don't want to see it destroyed. We're asking for somebody to step forward and say that this isn't going to happen. What we're looking for. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, motion to close. Oh, sorry.
David Rimby, 47 East Holly Avenue, Heritage Valley. I just want to get a couple brief comments to council. I really don't want to do this as a monologue. I wish we would go back to the old format of a dialogue. We have elected council. We have not elected the solicitor, not solicitor, or the business administrator. We elected the mayor. But I really wish we would go back to some type of dialogue here. A monologue is not what this is about. We live in a democratic society. We should not, at the end of the meeting, have the feedback from the solicitor telling what the comments should be. We have elected council and the mayor. So my point is, I think council and the mayor really need to seriously think about this change in format. I think the 5 minutes is fine. If you can't make your point in 5 minutes, that's great. You can even have that with some dialogue. But I think we really need to look at this, because we do live in a democratic society. Last time I looked in the United States of America. That's why my comment, and I also had to agree with Mr. Frazier. Something's going really wrong in Heritage Valley. We've done everything we can. We attended zoning board meetings. We reached out to council. We reached out to the solicitor, who gave us some comments that he couldn't comment regarding zoning board because they're autonomous authorities. That was a decision of council to do that a couple years ago, according to the previous solicitor. So you really got to look at what we're doing in this town if we really want to grow it and move it to the next level. That's my comments, and I hope you really take seriously how we're running this public participation. It should not be a monologue. It should be a dialogue. Thank you very much.
Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, motion to close.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're now closed to the public. We will answer some questions. Resolutions be available on the website. I know that we did have that conversation. I think there was a technicality on the website that it couldn't be done, or at least a video part of it couldn't be on there. I'm not 100% on that, though. I don't know were you guys looking into that?
There was a technical issue with putting the meeting video on the website. As far as the resolutions on the website, that was really, it's a council decision. Of course, they're proposed resolutions at the time, but certainly they can be put on as draft resolutions. If council is interested in doing that, certainly can do that.
Most recently, we made the change with the agenda, because this actually came up, I don't think you were here, but this came up recently where we were debating a bit back and forth whether or not we should add small or short summaries onto the agenda. So we did make that move to add that to the agendas, but we, I guess, never came to a decision on whether or not to put the proposed resolutions on the website prior to the meeting. I don't know where the resolutions are. I know they're usually around.
We copy draft resolution and ordinances, and we post them up front by our office on the bulletin board. But moving forward, I will make sure, along with Leo, the township clerk, that we post them again back on the bulletin board. This building, or this room, was just recently remodeled. Billboard just went up, so I'll make sure the bulletin board is posted with that information for you as well.
So, little dialogue here.
You can't call out. I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, most of the time they're going to be posted when you get here in the meeting. Yes, that's how we've been doing it before.
Do we want to explore putting them online?
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
I'm fine with that,
I'm fine with that.
as long as it's not too burdensome for the clerk. But
That's what I don't know.
I don't have a problem with it. The problem is that people need to understand that they change at the last minute. Things come on and off at the last minute. There are some resolutions that aren't available up until literally just before the meeting happens. That goes the same for ordinances that are going to be brought up as introduction. Sometimes the actual document isn't available until maybe a few hours before the meeting. So it's not as cut and dry as just, well, let's just make them available. There's a lot of moving pieces that are always happening behind the scenes. So we have to be cognizant of that.
It's council's will. I mean, we can certainly put the resolutions up on the agenda with the following disclaimer that basically says that they're subject to change, that they're just proposed resolutions until they're adopted, and the agenda is always subject to change. So, I mean, those issues and those can be addressed, and the public will understand that we can add. Sometimes things get taken off, and sometimes things change. So that certainly with that directive, we can do that. If it's council's will, then the clerk's office can do that.
Do we want to draft the resolution to do that? That way we can get it all in writing, what needs to be done at that point and how the disclaimer needs to be worded?
Take action after we're done with the public portion, going through all the questions, we can add that on and take action tonight to authorize the clerk's office to post all resolutions and ordinances on the website prior to the meetings with the proper information and disclaimers.
Okay.
And then I think the gentleman also had a question about the, I think he's talking about the Lillian Taylor settlement.
Yeah,
He might be talking about that.
that's what I believe as well.
Does council want me to address that?
Sure.
So that settlement was reported in the newspaper. That settlement was approved by council, and there's nothing confidential about that. So if you would like to get a copy of that settlement agreement, you can certainly make an open request in the clerk's office, and they'll have that out to you right away.
And we'll move on to Bruce Frazier's comments. Bruce, I did have a conversation with you, and, you know, I know I had bad news for you, but as far as the comment you made about that being, it's on their property, and I don't know what was said at the meeting. I communicated with Jay. I'm waiting for him to get back to me, Jay Petrangelo, the city planner. So, you know, hopefully I can give you another update in the future. I just haven't heard anything as to our last conversation. If anybody else has any comments on Heritage Valley's wall in the corner.
I'd be more than happy to at least reach out to whoever we can get on the developer end as well and try and, I mean, if it has to be moved or replaced or, I don't know. I don't know what their game plan is at this point. But I'd be more than happy to follow up with you if you like and see what we can do that works for everybody. From what I remember is that they did say something to the fact that they would work with you, and they should. So we'll see what we can do with that.
Yeah, I know when I talked to Bruce on the phone, it was, you know, possibly if they will deconstruct the wall and give them the materials that the wall was made out of, they can possibly put it somewhere else was on the table as well. So hopefully we can come up with a solution. I know it's not the best answer, but it's all I got for you. I'm sorry. Anyone else have any comments on that? And
My only other comment, Council President, would be that there may be a legal claim. I don't know. I mean, it's a surveying issue. There may be a legal claim between the association and the developer as to, you know, the rights to this particular entrance wall. So, again, I'm not here to promote lawsuits or litigation. However, there may be also a legal claim as well between the two property owners.
and
They can't resolve the
that'd
dispute.
be on the association to, I guess, go after that at that point, right? So.
Well, I hate to answer folks, hey, listen, got to go spend money on a lawyer, but it may be, I mean, if we can't get any answers and we can't facilitate a resolution, they may have to resort to that as a last resort.
And I believe that addressed part of your speech too, Dave. Thank you. Anybody else, any comments? And we'll move on to our executive session. Executive session will last approximately 30 minutes, maybe less, and council
Well,
may
before
take...
that, do you want to take action on the
Oh, that's right,
resolutions?
the resolution.
So how about I make a motion that we put all resolutions that are being proposed on the,
Are we able to do it, though? Is there available space wherever to put it up there? And do we have the means to do it?
Well, if we can technically do it, then I think the will of the council would be to...
I mean, if we can do it, I say yeah. I think it's possible. You know, you don't want to say we're going to do it and then find out there's a problem. Let's check to make sure we can, and then if we can, we'll put it up there. So make the motion with the caveat that, you know, provided we're...
make a motion that if possible, we put all proposed ordinances and resolutions prior to the meeting onto the township website.
Second that?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes.
And that becomes for the clerk, Resolution 324, 2017.
So executive session will last approximately 20 minutes. We may take action afterwards. Do I need to say anything else?
Yeah, there's two we have on the agenda personnel regarding the economic development consultant, and also I want to add litigation Plute, Plute versus Washington Township. In the motion to go into executive session for those reasons.
Make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll announce now, just in case you do leave, the next council meeting is November 8th, 2017 at 7 PM. We will be coming back into session, though.
Make a motion to come out of closed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Resolution R, Resolution 235, 2017.
Actually, can be,
Oh, wait.
what is it?
It's going to be resolution 315.
It'll be 315-2017.
So I'd like to make a motion for resolution 315 to reject all proposals for the economic development consultant and authorize the QPA to reissue the RFP for the position
Second.
as soon as possible.
And roll call.
Ms. Donato?
Yes.
Mr. Longfellow?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Fazio?
Yes. And next council meeting is November 8th, 2017 at 7 PM. And motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody.